Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment.
Welcome, beloved hearts. This is Anrita Melchizedek, and I'd like to share with you a little bit about our latest New Earth Quantum Healing Activation Masterclass, which is on the Galactic DNA activation and Photonic light chambers. So these are beautiful photonic light chambers or healing chambers brought through by our galactic higher self aspects. And in this core group that we're working with the Syrian Archangelic League of the Light, the Pleiadian emissaries of the light, the Andromedan intergalactic beings of the light, the Arcturian emissaries, and joining us too are the Venetian High Council beings as well as the Lyrian beings of light. So it's quite a beautiful group that have stepped forward to assist us with these beautiful photonic healing chambers of light, to experience new levels of our divinity, to experience the ability to activate our galactic DNA, and also to move into the density, but doing it through the photonic light. And that photonic light is our soul light. So we offered the opportunity to merge with all these galactic higher self aspects that we are already doing, just much more consciously, to feel those frequencies, to feel those energies, and then also to experience the activation of the galactic DNA through the fire letters and sacred geometries, and also through the axial lines. And the axial lines lie upon the acupuncture meridian lines, and they join in through specific spin points of sound and color frequencies that create very specific geometries to start this process of rejuvenation, regeneration, and of course becoming our light body, because we're moving through this ascension process where we are experiencing initially the spiritual ascension, where our ego or our physical bodies are ascending, and then our soul aspects are descending. And we have really a gazillion aspects that we are integrating and embodying as we become our higher selves. Although one of those beautiful frequencies and energies that we integrate first is the Syrian higher self. That's one of those Syrian aspects of consciousness that impulse us initially, and we embody that galactic aspect, and then we start to embody many other of these beautiful galactic aspects of self. So I remember, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago, that Amora Kwanyan, at that time I read her Pleiadian workbook, and I'm going back a couple of decades, maybe longer, and she had brought in or invoked the overlighting at that stage of the Pleiadian emissaries of the light to bring in these different chambers of light, healing chambers. And it came through in this beautiful multicolored laser light grid. And I could actually really feel and sense this light grid. And the light grid doesn't just come in as light grid, as very specific gridding, but it also comes in as a spin. There's a vortex that is created above the crown chakra, and every cell in the body, as we know, becomes a vortex when we are shifting from the carbon-based density and realities within the body in releasing that density to silica, to crystalline consciousness, and then to photonic light. And that photonic light is really what we are embodying in shifting in the physical ascension, where our physical body becomes our light body. And that's what we're all experiencing as we move from this soul seed or star seed and soul seed to star being and then source light and so much more. So it's such a beautiful journey, but it's also a very, very challenging journey, because photonic light itself, when we experience this photonic light, what we are experiencing then is everything is getting loud for some time, because the photonic light slows us down. It takes us into 0 point. That's where we are starting to keep the heart open a lot more. We're observing. That's the witnessing presence of our beloved higher selves, or beloved I am presence, whatever we may wish to call it, that we are looking at the distortions, we're observing it, and then of course it's the consciousness that at the same time is expanding as we're raising the frequency and vibration of our bodies. And while we're doing that, we also then able to shift what we need to often as we expand beyond those lower timelines and what we call the prison matrix. But the photonic light that takes us fifth dimensionally through bringing in the soul and higher self aspects into the body can only occur when we've cleared enough of that density. And as we're clearing it and we're going in, and all this anger is coming up, and all this fear might be coming up, and just a whole lot of things are going on in the body, because these are the resurrection and ascension codes for us to experience our divinity. Our divinity is our beautiful soul. Our divinity is our Christed light. So we're experiencing the feminine energy first, keeping the heart open. That's our divine feminine aspects coming online, which deepens into the self-love, self-nurturing, self-appreciation. And then that's the being stage, where we're in for a while. And we're still clearing, and we're going through a lot of those, what we call the heaven and hell archetypal energies, because it's loud. The photonic light, as it's coming into the body, it screams through the head. Every distortion, every false belief, every judgment, all maybe that we don't want to see, it's all coming up for us. And it can be very, very uncomfortable, but it's also to recognize simultaneously that the light codes within the body are activating through the dormant DNA, and they're programming, coding, or recoding rather, and reprogramming, and of course taking us into the sequences of the building blocks of that physical light body experience. And in this beautiful masterclass on New Earth Quantum Healing Activation, we offered the opportunity to not only experience the merging with these galactic higher self aspects, but we also offered the opportunity to experience being held in these amazing photonic light chambers through the overlighting of the galactic aspects of ourselves, as well as the overlighting of these core groups that are coming forward and working together, so that all of us can deepen into New Earth. All of us can have that witnessing presence and awareness of our own divinity and ability to clear the pockets and fields of density from within, so that we can really just become our higher selves on this sacred earth, that we can really experience those rainbow frequencies and just that love and that joy and that bliss and magic and ability to trust and surrender, because that's such a huge part of our work too, as we experience New Earth and as we come together in unity and community. And really, essentially, it's giving ourselves the time, at least initially, for this. I find each stage can take about 2 or 3 years, depending on what we're doing and what stage that we're in. And it's just honoring that we're all going through this process, every awakened soul upon this sacred earth. And in fact, all of humanity, they're just not ready for it yet, because every soul at that higher light level is attempting to wake up that human. And many are just not listening, and that's why we're just experiencing such huge distortions occurring on this sacred earth. But these light chambers that I have experienced for many years and many others have too, they're just absolutely beautiful and incredible, and we can have them on for 24/7, experiencing these frequencies and energies. We just have to invoke the overlighting of these core groups and give our permission for this work to take place. And what actually occurs with all of this, it just amplifies that atomic and molecular restructuring of the reprogramming, rewriting, recording, transmitting, and embodying of these frequencies of light through the divine intelligence of our own beautiful soul light that expands into the rewriting of the DNA, or the recoding, the activating, the actualization of it all through this photonic light, as I was expressing, to experience our physical light bodies. And we move through different levels of those light bodies too, from the actual physical light body into the crystalline light body, the rainbow light body, the plasma light body, and so much more. The focus though for today is getting a sense of, through this masterclass, a sense of what these beautiful chambers of light are, and how we experience this primarily through this photonic light, to be able to hold all from within as pure divine love, because that's essentially what we are. We are the light of God. We are these beautiful flames of divinity walking this path of love. And as we expand our light, as we know, it determines not only our frequency and ability to shift consciously into the higher dimensional fields of light, but of course it is affecting and creating change upon this sacred earth as we connect into the unity grid, as we move through these different gridding structures. We move from the planetary grid into the solar grid. We keep expanding into greater levels of consciousness and light, and then from there into the galactic grid, into the intergalactic, universal, multi-universal grids. And again, that's also a topic for another time, and we'll get there too. I wanted to talk a bit about what is experienced through this photonic light, and how in embodying this photonic light we are able to release so much of that density, which is the old stories, the old programs, the false beliefs, the judgments, while deepening into that trust and surrender, because the ego selves will never surrender, will they? It's just allowing and trusting our universe that all is unfolding perfectly and as it's meant to be. And a large part of that consciousness is dictated through spending time with Mother Earth, being out in nature, taking that time when we need to go to sleep or to meditate or to just honor all that is. Because in that initial process of when we're working with so much of those heaven and hell archetypes and clearing so much of that unconsciousness, it is very challenging. The entire body is shifting too. I mean, these are really all the ascension symptoms that many are talking about, where we, for a very long time, we might get these headaches because the pineal is activating and the third eye is becoming our primary sight. And we're experiencing all these vortices activating, not only through the chakras, as the chakras become one unified column of light, but they become vortices first. Every subatomic particle in the body becomes a vortex. And that's why we talk about ourselves as the vibrating physical vessels and vortices of light on the sacred earth, because we are the change. We are the unity grid. To get to that point though, when we're moving through so many of these ascension symptoms, experiencing alignment, misalignment, alignment, misalignment, it can not only be confusing, but there are days where just so much anger is coming up maybe, or so much grief is coming up, or we're traveling through the karmic timelines, and we're also shifting and changing the universal Akasha, our own Akashic record, so that we can lapsing and dissolving the lower timelines, no longer needing to be experienced. So what I wanted to share with you is a little bit of these different chambers of light that we're going to experience, these photonic chambers of light. And how this really works is that we call upon the overlighting of all these beautiful galactic beings, as well as actually the Andarian beings. So the Andarian beings are very much connected to the Andara crystals, but it's really a consciousness, a Lemurian Andarian consciousness. There are many of us that remember the timelines of the golden ages, but particularly in Lemuria, where we seeded the energy of the Andara crystals, which is a galactic or quantum frequency that takes us multidimensional. The timelines merged, the dimensions merged, and many of those higher dimensional frequencies or light codes that came through the Andarian beings were able to be seeded, and they were also coded or programmed through many awakened souls that became the Lemurian and Andarian beings of light. And those of us at that timeline that remembered or held those codes or seeded or activated and programmed many of the Andarian crystals, we did it through the glass frequencies on this sacred earth, not only in the pockets where there was a lot of monatomic Ethereum frequencies and qualities, but in the oceans too, with the volcanic rocks. And we are seeing that now, that great awakening of so many souls, and many are doing it by working with the Andara crystals and the Andarian frequencies or beings of light. So they assist us very much in shifting multidimensionally, bringing a focus to what it is in each now moment that is most soul aligned, highest aligned, as we creating these vortices and portals into the higher dimensions, these plasma light portals, which is essentially all about manifestation. Because at an atomic level, what's happening is that the cells are creating new atoms, molecules of manifestation, of frequency and feeling, and sound and color and geometry. That's how we are experiencing all. And it's a very beautiful one to work with these photonic healing chambers of light while simultaneously activating our galactic DNA. So I'm just going to read a paragraph of how we experience this, and then I'm going to take you into some of these light chambers as a very brief mini experience to give you a sense of it and invite you to join us. And also, in addition to this New Earth Quantum Healing activation on the Galactic DNA activation and these Photonic Chambers of Light, we also offer the practitioner training on many of these New Earth Quantum Healing activations. So you too can experience being a practitioner, because everything that we're doing now is we're coming together in unity and community, stepping up a lot more and sharing our light with others, and all talking about New Earth and what the experience is of New Earth, and all these frequencies that we are sharing with you are all part of the New Earth experience. So it's a really lovely one to be able to share with others, with your light tribe. If you have just your own beautiful souls that you're really working with, or working with different healing modalities, this is just such a beautiful one to be able to add to all that you are sharing. And it's really just where we are right now. We are moving into such huge beginnings, not only energetically on a planetary level. Now we're moving into the eclipse frequencies and energies, but we are really just letting go. We're just letting go, just releasing all that no longer serves, all that no longer holds as our truth, stepping beyond the old by expanding our frequency, and also by activating not only the pineal, which becomes then the all-seeing eye as we move beyond the veils of illusion, but by keeping the heart open no matter what is being experienced. And that loving heart frequency and energy is really essentially what takes us into New Earth. So the galactic DNA activations and photonic chambers of light, they work as we invoke and call upon the galactic beings, and in this instance the Andarian beings of light, as they interface to take us multidimensionally. So we merge with our galactic higher self aspects through the overlighting of these light beings, as we experience the activation of the axatonal lines, fire letters, and the galactic DNA codes of light. Following this, we experience the related photonic healing chamber of light through our higher self aspects to bring forth our realities, in which the atoms and molecules within the body create new shape and form as vortices of light for each frequency or manifestation we wish to experience within our reality. We all is felt and experienced through love and unity, and we all is highest aligned, and we our physical bodies no longer experience dis-ease and discomfort. Where false beliefs and judgments are transcended and released as we move beyond the veils of illusion and the knowing that the lower timelines no longer serve as we deepen into our loving hearts. Where all is love, and love is all there is. And we offered the following galactic DNA activations and photonic chambers of light. So in order to give you a mini experience of this, what I'm going to do is take a moment with you to simply breathe deep into the body, because that's where our consciousness always starts, simply through the breath. And then we're going to invoke and call upon the core groups coming forth to assist us in this beautiful photonic healing chamber of light. So we just take a moment now to simply center ourselves, perhaps sitting with our feet on the floor, on the grass, just feeling and sensing our breath. So breathe in love, breathe out love. And do now invoke and call upon the overlighting of the Syrian Archangelic League of the Light, the Pleiadian emissaries of the light, the Arcturian emissaries of the light, the Andromedan intergalactic beings of the light, the Venetian High Council members, and the Lyrian emissaries of the light. And we request galactic DNA activations and photonic chamber of light to be brought in around our body and energy field. As these multidimensional, multicolored laser light grids, as we now experience the merging with our galactic higher self aspects, and start now with this purification and detoxification, photonic healing chamber of light. Wrapped in this beautiful diamond white flame that ignites from within the loving heart as we continue to breathe in love and breathe out love. This is a very deep purification frequency that goes right into every subatomic particle holding density, and further takes us into this gamma hertz frequency range of between 40 to 100 hertz. And we may experience this through the inner ears too. We may experience these vortices activating through each subatomic particle. We may simply feel and experience just a deep sense of this beautiful photonic healing chamber of light. In this instance, we're not going to work too much with the galactic DNA activations. We're just going to focus on these beautiful photonic healing chambers of light. As we now breathe in love, hold the breath as long as we can, and release all that is ready to be released. Wrapped in this beautiful diamond white light and flame of purity. We now ask to receive the Pleiadian self-love Photonic healing chamber of light. This is a beautiful healing green flame with these soft and gentle healing frequencies assisting us to keep the heart open and to experience greater levels of self-love, self-nurturing, and self-appreciation, primarily experienced through the overlighting of our Pleiadian higher self, as well as the Pleiadian emissaries of the light, dissolving lesser than and better than consciousness and fear and grief and anxiety as we expand beyond the old, just feeling and sensing in all these activations these beautiful flames that ignite from within and expand around the body and energy field. In this instance, this beautiful green flame expanding from the loving heart around the body and energy field as we further feel every subatomic particle spinning as a vortex of light, and feel and sense this photonic healing chamber of light, the light grids coming in around the body and energy field. As we breathe in love, hold the breath as long as we can and breathe out all that is ready to be released. So we'll just do 2 more, and then we'll just sit in that beautiful sacred space, just being open to receive and knowing that these light frequencies, these beautiful photonic healing chambers of light, we can run 24/7. We just have to request the overlighting of these core groups, giving our conscious permission, or we can shift into the experience of that which we feel will be of great benefit to us. And so we invoke and call upon the Syrian higher self empowerment photonic healing chamber of light through this galactic core group. So this powerful photonic healing chamber of light is a blue golden flame of light that expands from within the loving heart around the body and energy field as we merge with our Syrian higher self. It takes us into greater levels of will and power. Very first ray energy. It's a more masculine frequency, but it's just a beautiful one of internal will and power. It aligns us to greater levels of that which we call the Christ consciousness grids, and into the realm of the masters of light, our elder brothers and sisters. Also assists us to release any level of disempowerment, as well as dissolving anger, victim persecutor consciousness, separation, perceived helplessness, and bringing online or the experience of new levels of communication, expression, empowerment, the ability to have clear boundaries, to release all that no longer serves. As we just breathe in love, hold the breath, and release all that is ready to be released. Good. So the last one we're going to experience here is what we call the vaccination and shedding photonic healing chamber of light. So this is for those of us that have had the vaccinations, and maybe even more recently some of those vaccinations, as well as the effects of shedding, which is a very real thing that occurs through being in close proximity to others that have recently been vaccinated, and through the droplets coming out, how that can affect us and get into our bloodstream, and how we can experience the symptoms of these different things that may be going around. So what we're going to do there again is just experience this powerful rainbow light flame with golden frequencies that ignites from within the loving heart, assisting us in the effects of the vaccinations and shedding from being around those that are vaccinated. This one is working right into the blood, the muscles, the nervous system, and spinning the subatomic particles in crystalline rainbow light frequencies, while further releasing fear, discomfort, and the effects of the vaccines. So again, we just feel this, honor this, merging with our higher self aspects, primarily our galactic aspects, just breathing in love, holding the breath, and releasing all that is ready to be released. Good. As we fold the focus here, we are going to just have a sense of what these other photonic healing chambers of light are coming forward. One is this abundance and prosperity consciousness photonic healing chamber of light. It's going to spin up and down the lower chakras, which are the lower dimensions. So lots of orange, red, yellow colors are going to be coming through there. And also activating the Kundalini energy, the masculine and feminine frequencies. That's all going to occur. And of course, also what's occurring simultaneously is that the Kundalini energy of Mother Earth is also activating. So it's a very beautiful one to be syncing, but also to be working with our masculine, feminine frequencies and releasing all lack of. There's a really lovely one, the calm and peaceful Arcturian photonic healing chamber of light. So it's also activating the pineal gland, giving greater levels of insight, understanding. There's the wisdom of the higher mind is further activating. We then also experience a recalibration between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, and a release of many of those feel-good hormones, serotonin, endorphins, and other neural pathways activating with particular receptors that just create that sense of well-being. We've also got the joyful Syrian dolphin photonic healing chamber of light, and that's just a beautiful joyful frequency that's activating in the body again, spinning, a lot of spinning in that one through the subatomic particles. We also have a really beautiful one for our pets, for those of us that love our animals. I have 7 cats actually. So very big cat fan, I would say, and some of those cats have actually just found their way to my home. I didn't actually go and find them, and just have settled here quite happily. So this one then is also a very beautiful and interesting one. Often when I look at my pets, I see different lifetimes in which they've been, whether it's horses or owls, or one actually was, I saw it's in the lifetime of being a dragon. So much as we have different lifetimes and experience, different parts, one could say, different bodies, so do our pets for the most part. And of course, what's also very common is that those same pets will reincarnate into a different, maybe cat body if they were a cat that we loved and worked with, or a dog, or and come back as, in a new little puppy body, kitty body, whatever it may be. Often though, they will also come back as, horses or animals, but also birds. I've noticed that too with my animals, that they come back as birds too. So what this pet soul aspects merging photonic healing chamber of light does is that it brings through the various timelines of our pets' soul frequency and energy, in which they experience themselves as other animals or birds, dragons, and the like, and just merge these aspects into this now. So when we do this one, it's we're going to do it as a surrogate and just focus on our cats or dogs or whatever animal that we might have. You know, a lot of people also have different types of animals and horses and so on. And this also, in a way, just gives them a greater sense and presence of themselves. It's the same as when we're expanding our consciousness. They are doing this too. So it's a really beautiful one, and yes, and we are going to end there. I see Melchizedek's coming forward. I know that he's got a called a quantum computer or cosmic computer, where we will then activate greater levels of the fire letters. This is on the galactic DNA activation side, and those sacred geometries and sound and color frequencies, and merge more deeply with our galactic higher self aspects. So it's a very lovely one, and we'd absolutely love you to join us. And in addition to that, then, as I was expressing, we also have the practitioner training, and you will just be given, you know, what you can share, as well as some marketing information, little ebooks that you can share with your light tribe, ads that you can put out there, just some nice images as well that you can use on YouTube or wherever it may be that you put yourself out and market yourself. So, you know, do consider that, because really all we're doing is that we are the light of God, and we are sharing and extending our light in service to Mother Earth and all her life. And this is just such a beautiful way to be able to do that. So we look forward to having you join us. This is live on Zoom, and if you miss it, there are recordings always available with myself, and I also have a co-host holding the space with us, the beautiful Lorraine Gailey of New Earth One Network, Neo Network. So we look so forward to having you join us, and just big hugs, lots of love, and just wishing you just so much joy. So from my heart and to yours, and to the cosmic hearts of all creation, blessings in love. Namaste.